A long time ago, in the high mountain ranges far to the north, there lived a rough and scattered people who others later called Honkies. They came from cold stone caves and forested peaks, living off hunting and whatever hard crops could grow in thin soil. They had little in the way of cloth or trade, and their hands were rough from the weather. They wore furs and hides because they didn't know how to weave or tan leather properly. And they drank from mountain streams without knowing how to keep clean. Down in the valleys and plains lived the Negro communities. They had built settlements with knowledge passed down for generations. Things like weaving fabric, bathing with herbs and oils, farming with irrigation, and trading goods along established routes. They understood how to read the land and turn resources into food, tools, and shelter. One day, a small group from the mountains came down into the valley, desperate and weak from a harsh winter. A few individuals from the Negro community took them in, taught them how to wash, how to dress in cloth instead of rawhide, and how to cultivate the land. In return, the mountain people offered their strength and their knowledge of the high trails. But among the Negro settlements, there was also division. Some leaders had grown resentful from old disputes over trade and business, feuds that had lasted years over goods and alliances. These leaders saw the mountain people as a way to gain advantage. They began trading secretly with the mountain folk, offering them food, weapons, and the skills they had learned from the Negro community. In exchange, the mountain people gave them promises of protection and a share of any land they could claim together. Over time, that secret trade grew. The Negro leaders who broke away started training the mountain people in tactics they had learned from their own community. They showed them how to organize, how to hold ground, and how to take resources. With that training, the mountain people grew stronger, came down from the mountains and began to claim territory that had once belonged to the Negro settlements. The wealth came from that shift. The ones who had allied with the mountain people used their position to control trade routes and take land, while the broader Negro community was pushed back. The mountain people, once without resources, gained land and goods through that alliance, and their descendants built power from it. That's the story of how it began in the mountains, how the split happened within the Negro community, and how the alliance changed who held the land and the wealth. Yeah, how I said this land is yours to keep, not to sell. That was the covenant spoken under the old oak tree when the first cisterns were dug. From that day, the Negro community held the river's source. They built the channels with their own hands, stone by stone, so no child would thirst in the dry season. When the Honkies came generations later, they settled the river bank and spread their city wide. They brought brass horns and guilds and ledges. They saw the water and saw wealth. They offered gold, trade, promises. The elders remembered what Yahweh said. They refused. That refusal is why the Negro community did not get rich. They could have dammed the river, they could have named a price. The twin city of Hunka would have paid it, but the covenant was clear: stewards do not sell. So the Honkies took land during the dry season instead, using shifting trades and broken words. Some who left the Negro community helped them chasing the name get rich. They helped draw new borders over old ground. They taught the Honkies how the channels ran. For that, they were paid in coin and forgotten by both sides. The Honkies got rich off that theft. Their mills ran and their vaults filled. The Negro community stayed with their courtyards and communal pots. They still shared the water, they still held the source, because Yahweh said they must. When the young Honkies rioted to seize the river outright, the answer came through. Solar Command, the solar vanguard, activated at the bridge. Sun-forged arms split with raw solar energy. Eyes burned crimson on the front line, amber with the tacticians, gold with the commanders, white with the eldest who remembered Yahweh's voice. The solar vanguard could have crossed into Hunka, could have taken every market and foundry in a day. The power was there, but Yahweh said, keep, not conquer. So they held the line in the Honky Mountains. The Hunkas watched, they had seen the ledgers and knew the history. They were fed up with being called Honkies because of what they kin did. Many had kin among the Negro community now. They broke away and stood with the solar vanguard because they chose the covenant over coin. The reason the Negro community did not get rich, Yahweh said, keep the land, so they kept it. And when tested, they answered with light.